Good guys, my name is Lord Tomo. Welcome again to another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collect review. As you know, I am Lord Tomo with the good old blue stick Sonic the Hedgehog, here with another exciting review. Of course, it's a review channel of Sonic stuff. You can't go wrong with there. Now, this request has been, I guess, requested for quite a while though. Obviously, I've transitioned to a new place. Blah blah blah. Don't want to give you too much details. I've harkened on that for quite a while, and I'm actually gonna finally start to review. For a couple of reasons. A, I felt bad for not reviewing it when it was requested at the time, and B, they have released more of these versions, which I will be getting in the future and I will be reviewing. But enough chitter chatter. Let's I don't know what was doing that. Let's get straight into the review. Put Sonic aside, actually throw him aside because we don't really need him. he actually landed him perfectly. Wow. This is the Smiling Towers. I'm just going to call him Smiling Towers. The Smiling Towers from the Sonic Boom series Emoji AH Plus. This is a, I'm going to say straight, if you want the quick review, phenomenal series, phenomenal plush. You cannot go wrong with this. Long story short, I'll give you the brief history before I get into the ins and outs and the pros and cons of this actual plush itself. But pretty much it fundamentally falls down to, sorry, it fundamentally, the license holder of creating merchandising, the major merchandising of the Sonic series is Tommy, or Tommy, as I like to call it, but some people say Tommy, to each their own, not here to criticize. And essentially, they've manufactured various series of the Sonic franchise, predominantly Sonic Boom franchise, to say the least. One of the major series is the Super Deform Him, which is pretty much that Sonic over there. And they've done like an 8-inch series, and they've done a lot of classic series, etc, etc. This is referred to as the Emoji series. Essentially what it is the characters, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, when it's basically gets released, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's already released, so I'm going to look into that. I know that it is being forecast for the Christmas period, so I've just got the small hiccups here. And essentially, it is the same archetypal body, is that the word? It's the same body shape, in terms of its design and its architectural design. I guess that's the best way to describe it. An architect is somebody who practically makes designs that of mostly buildings and constructions. So this is the archetype of plushing creators. There you go. I either made that up or I know that from the top of my head. You choose it. So essentially, it's the same design, so all the top plushes look exactly the same. The only difference is the facial expression. That's why this series is called the Emoji series. There's a Sonic version which you can check out. There's a playlist which is the Sonic Hedgehog plushes. I've reviewed pretty much all the plushes. There's still a ton more plushes that I have that I get to review. I will get to them as I get to them, of course. And this is the Tails version. So at the current date, if I'm not mistaken, there are 2 plushes. Wave 1 had 2 tail plushes. Wave 1 of Sonic was 4 plushes of the emojis, and they have released a new wave, I think Wave 2, which is another additional, I know there's 2 additional more Sonics, I think another 2 additional Tails, and I think they just announced and released, or will be releasing 2, if not 1, version of Knuckles, which, if anybody knows me, I'm a big fan of Knuckles. Nothing wrong with Sonic. Enough chitter chatter. We're not here for me to ramble on, even though that's pretty much my staple of the channel. So straight off the bat, this plush is adorable. It does have a few shortcomings, which I will address. I wouldn't say the shortcomings in the sense that it harkens back to any defects or any things that take away from this plush. It more or less falls under the whole, I wish they did things a little different from this particular series, but I totally understand. So the more nitpicks than actual criticism of the actual plush itself, because it is a solid plush for what they were aiming for. Let's get into it. So this is the actual face palette, as you would normally call it, of Tails. Pardon me, of Tails Mile Prower, Tails, depending on how you would like to call them. I'm just going to call them Tails for the sake of this review. And the reason why this one's called a Smiling Tails is because, voila, he's a smiling plush. Now, the Sonic version, which you can definitely check in my previous review, had his smiling on the actual side, kind of like a small smirk smiling Sonic the Hedgehog. Tails smiling is pretty much centered in the middle, and it's just one little line. And if you look closely, There we go. You can see how it basically has an embroidering effect to it. It's not bad. It does what it's meant to. Focus, my can. It's meant to. It does what it's meant to do, which is pretty much exemplify what smiling is. However, the nitpick that I have personally is the fact that his smile looks off. You know it's Tao. You know it's Tao's from the Boom series, but his smile just looks. I would have preferred him to have a smoky smile on the side, but I guess he will play too much onto the Sonic's version. This one, it's okay. It's just for whatever reason in my mind of minds, this just looks completely off. I don't know why it is. It looks completely off, even though from its design point of view, it does what it's meant to do. He's smiling. I mean, what more version of a smiling can you do? Him doing that, it is what it is. So it's not a criticism as in a design flaw. It's just a nitpick that I have. I would have preferred him to have a smiling smirk on the side. That in itself is smiling. I know I'm talking too much about his smile, but that in itself, it's not bad. It's just I would have preferred. So it's more of a preference than anything else. At the actual top, you do have his goggles. They're not your typical goggles in that some of the Great Eastern Entertainment, pardon me, the Great Eastern Entertainment goggles, where they kind of have like an embroidering effect as in pops up. It is pretty much just one couple of materials, 3 materials to be precise. No, 4 materials. No, 3 materials plus an embroidering effect. I'll show you that shortly. So there's 3 materials stacked on together, kind of to give it more of an oomph effect, to give it more of a goggles. They're pretty much attached from his actual forehead, and they split out all the way to the actual side. This is a nitpick, and I'll probably say a design flaw. I would have preferred they did something differently. I would have preferred his goggles basically just to go all around his head. Now, some would argue, well, why would you? His main focus is his front. Valid point. You're absolutely right. Why would you? To which I would answer, why would you even give his tails like that? And why would you even basically embroider them the way you have them like that? And add all that extra details and effort, or you can just would have strapped on an actual material, which would have done the same. So I wish they would have made that wrap around all the way his head. I mean, that is what his goggles. It just looks a bit, stupid. Let's be real. I'll be honest. It looks stupid, to be honest. Then again, it really depends on the collector. I mean, I will have him purely displayed like this at the front at all times. So the question would be asked, why do you care? Which is a valid question. Why should I care? But I have a couple of mates, and I particularly am the sort of person that likes to handle their plushes and the merchandising every now and often, just to reinvigorate the vibe and the I guess nostalgia of it. And each time I look at it from the back, it's kind of like I wish they would have done that. The goggles themselves aren't bad. I just would have preferred it to be wrapped around. That being said, though, they do have an added feature on the actual plush itself, where basically the inner capsule of the goggles are embroidered. I will show you that. There we go. See how I love this webcam. It's definitely embroidered there, which is phenomenal. I love that. Like I said, the goggles themselves is awesome. Of course, the criticism is I wish he just wrapped around. Enough beating the same bush. The next feature is his little fringe. Now, different manufacturers approach this in different manners. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's purely preferential and the actual cost to resale value of creating a plush. I've never had an issue with the way they design it. It's literally just a material. If anything, he looks like his rooster fringe. So it looks like a little rooster fringe. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I guess it falls back to what do you prefer. I do have a plush which has like a little fluffy effect for his fringe, which I guess pays more homage to what it would have looked like in real life, even though in real life 2 foxes are very scarce to know, if I know any. Some people do like the rooster fringe effect. I don't mind it. It does its job. It really does. I mean, obviously you can't have it in the middle. It does tend to, for my plush, it tends to flip on either side. Not bad. It is what it is. I just, it is what it is, really. I mean, what do you prefer? Do you prefer this fringe, or do you prefer the more material, fluffy based fringe? I don't really mind. I really don't. I've never seen a fringe on a tails that I hadn't particularly found a distaste to. So it is what it is. You do have his 2 big ears, and of course, being that his big ears are pretty fluffy, his actual inner ear canal are pretty much just another material, and they're pretty much well stitched on with an embroiling effect. I need to emphasize this straight out of the bat before I don't bring it up ever again, or probably don't address it properly. I do love the aspect of the embroiling effect on the actual plush itself. Phenomenal, great. I cannot stress that out enough. Just to show you what I'm talking about, if you look at his ear canal, come on, focus. You've been behaving with me so well. There we go. So you can see his inner ear canal over there, how they basically have an embroidering effect, which I think is phenomenal. You will see this across the actual plush itself, more so predominantly his eyes and his chest, and of course his tails, pardon me, when I get to it. But that effect has always been, I think, in my opinion, the pioneer of attention to details. I'm not going to say most, but most manufacturers, whenever they create plushes of any kind really, not just Sonic, but any kind really, and they need to pretty much have two materials. They have the formal and the formal in the front, and the later at the back, and they just stitch from the inside, and it just is pretty much the best way to describe it. It's literally just a material that just is just, you know, it's there. It does its job. It's seamless, but it basically looks shonky. It's stupid, to be honest. The best way to affect it is, these are the two materials, right? And the embroiling effect is pretty much on the actual top. It makes it seamless and pretty much unified. But most manufacturers, what they do is when they have one material and another material, instead of actually stitching it like that and putting a embroiling effect at the top, they just stitch it from the very bottom, which is over here. And you have a whole bunch of materials at the bottom, which is normally the inner side of the actual plush itself. And it's just two materials on the actual top, so you can stretch them. It just looks stupid and unprofessional. I know I'm critiquing a plush here, but it just looks stupid. I'd rather have the embroiling effect, where it just basically makes it seamless, and it's pretty much, it requires more stitching, to be honest, which is, I guess, a cost measuring that needs to be taken into effect. Whereby the other method, I'm not entirely sure what it's called. I know when you put two materials and you put the embroiling effect, which is I showed you, is more, it would cost more because of more stitching, of course. But the other method, I don't know what it's called. It's stitching, of course, but it just looks shonky. That is probably the worst example I could ever show you. But if you could understand that, bonus points, of course. So these are awesome. They're not stuffed at all. It's pretty much one seamless. Oh, actually, this is the best example. See how the E canal over there? They basically is just two materials and stitched from the inner side, whereby the inner part is embroiling effect. So those are the two major stitching designs that that I picked up, of course. Now, the reason why on the side it works perfectly well is because you're looking at it from a frontal point of view, not necessarily in the side, but you know, it depends on the manufacturers. It's a whole different ballgame. Next, you have his eyes. You use another materials, and I will use them in, but they're pretty much a embroiling effect on the actual sides, and have a embroiling effect on the actual eye pupils themselves, which I think are absolutely adorable. Well done. Just to show you what I'm talking about, there we go. So you can see the embroiling effect just on the actual outer eyes, and of course the embroiling effect on the actual eyes itself. I've always loved that effect on all plushes of Sonic. I've never really liked this. The only company and the only plushes that I've really enjoyed where they've done like a sticker-based pupils, which I've always been against for several reasons. I'll maybe make a video about it. Is probably GE Entertainment. It would appear that they have more of a strong adhesive sort of sticker-based application that they have, which is more sturdy, which is phenomenal. I've never seen that in any sticker-based plushes, not just Sonic, but like in other ones. Because generally, just to sum it up, the issue that I have with sticker-based applications on anything details is that over time, when kids use it or wash it, or you know, just the temperature in whichever country, if it's you know, summer or winter, it contracts and decontracts. It would eventually peel off. I've always hated it. Effects like this, that are pretty much stitching in the details with the eyes, I love it. You cannot. To me, I would always have this over everything else. Even though GE Entertainment love their work, I've always loved their work. They have great applications of the sticker based on the plushies. My preference would be this. Always. I mean, you cannot go wrong. You don't have the worry that you normally have with sticker based. Like I said, GE Entertainment, I'm not slagging them out. I love them. I got a whole bunch of plushes of them. It's just, you go with a preference, really. Next, you have these little whiskers, which is pretty much one material based. Of course, on either side. No, nothing real details. They're pretty much jaggedy, and I absolutely love them. Adorable. I just absolutely love his wickers. Overall, his face is superb. I cannot have an issue with this whatsoever. Of course, if you're the sort of person that likes to hang their plushes, it does give you a little, in my personal opinion, a flimsy little plastic little hook here, which is pretty much on the back of the head to the front, which looks like somebody from Chainsaw Massacre basically ripped him up and hanged it, and for everybody to see and eat at a later date. If you do want to hang it, it's totally up to you. I've always hated it, not because it's a part of the plush, but because I always hated these little plastic bits. Plastic is durable, of course, but as you can imagine, over time it'll probably rip off, and I've never been a big fan of that. I don't know. Are you the sort of person that likes to hang their plushies or like with the hooks on any of the plushes? I personally have never met anybody. I don't do it myself, but maybe there are some people out there. Comments below. I'm actually dead curious, because I don't know if this is the thing that people like to do, hanging it up. But it's to each their own. So that's the actual hook, and of course there's more stitching marks all the way from the back of his head to his tail. It is what it is. It's plush. Of course, you need to close it in so you can have everything on the head and body and fists and feet, and even his legs and his arms are all well stuffed. There's a solid feel to it, which is phenomenal. Some plushes, they tend to dupe on the stuffing on the pivotal points on the actual plush themselves. This one in particular, for Tommy's plushes in general, for the Emoji series, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. They stuffed it up. They stuff it so well that it gives it a plump effect, even though he's you know, pretty flat if you think about it retrospectively compared to the other plushes. The fact is extremely well stuffed from each pretty much point, which is phenomenal. I will address the hashtag. I've always had a nitpick on this. I know why they do it. I always harken on this for quite a bit, or sum it up. I don't like how they put the hashtags on the forefront of the plush. It detracts from the plush itself, and from a completionist collector like myself, I would rather the plush to be on the back. That being said, I know why they put it at the front. It's kind of to be of a hey, look, it's a Sonic plush, you know, Sonic Boom series. You know, it's an advertisement thing. I totally understand it. It's nothing that's ever going to change. I just need to always bring it up because it's always a bother for me, but I know why they do it. A bunch of obligatory information, and it's big. I would have preferred it on the back of the body, but I can't change that. I will never change that because I know why they do it. You know, it's just, they need to do it. They need to basically advertise their thing. Totally understandable. Let's get into the actual arms. The arms are pretty much, they're exactly the same on either side. I'll just address this really quickly. There's this little hashtag on the actual side, obligatory information, and you have, of course, where it says Sonic Boom on the side. On either side of the arm, it's pretty much his standard fist. This is a standard on all the Emoji series, just the body shapes and just the various designs. And just on the actual side there, it's pretty much just, I'll show you. There you go, this is his fist, and it's just a glove. It's very basic. You cannot go wrong. It's exactly the same on either side. It's just the way it's designed. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, for what it is, for what it's aiming for, the emoji aspect of it, it's great. I'm not complaining. Pardon me, I need to definitely drink some water. Of course, on his actual stomach, you have his belt, which is hominous. It's like making up words, pal. It's plays homage to the actual the animation, the games, and all that sort of stuff. Say what you will about the actual game and all that sort of stuff. This plush designs does really make him more of a ninja. He looks pretty badass. I like the revamp. I don't 100% agree with it, but it's a fresh take on an old thing. Pretty much the actual belt and all that is, if you look closely, it's pretty much all embroidered effect, as you can see, from his belt buckle, and of course his little stomach as well. As you can see, his little stomach is all embroidered effect, just as you can see there. Phenomenal. He does what he needs to do. Some plushes tend to make his chest and his fringe basically featherish by featherish, like material based. I don't mind it. It does its job. It's superb. Of course, I do have a nitpick. I would have preferred the belt to wrap around his body. It is what it is. I'm gonna keep on hiking on that. I wish they just go through with it, but for display purposes, it's there. It does what it does. I will need to address his tails. Now, tails is tails because he has tails. I mean, you can't go wrong with the tails. Now, I would have preferred especially with towels in particular, that they have his towels actually popping out. Even if they do it something like his little fringe here, even if it's something like that, I would have been 100% okay. This in itself isn't bad, but I wish, being that the key aspect of towels is always, amongst several things, is his towels, I would have preferred it to be popped out. I honestly would. But it is what it is, and I can't hate on it, I suppose. If you look closely, there you go. You can see how it basically has an embroidering effect across these towels. Not a big fan. Not the embroidering effect. I just would have wished it was popping out. Of course, it's the design of the emojis. I kind of get why they do it. Pretty bummed about it still, to say the least. Next, you have his actual feet, which is exactly the same. It's pretty much just a standard 4, and it's just about 3 materials on each side just to give the bandage effect. Just to show you, there you go, bandage effects. You can't go wrong with that. Pretty double, and there's no actual grip lines or soles on the back of the actual shoes of Tails, which, I mean, he works well. I'm kind of on the fence here. It's not bad. This is how I have my plush pretty much on my shelving unit. If you guys check out my Instagram, I'll be posting pics about that anyway. Adorable. Overall, this plush is absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I cannot go wrong with this whatsoever. I love the Emoji series. I love the Super Deform series. It's pretty much a step away from the conventional plushies, which they generally pretty much mass produce the same formats, the same poses and all that sort of stuff. And to have a series like this is in my personal opinion, absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I mean, I can't go wrong with that whatsoever. How much did I get it for? I think I put it in a box with a whole bunch of other stuff, but I think it was about $15. Is it pricey? Depends on you, really. I mean, it's 15 Australian now. Are you into this sort of stuff? If you are, definitely pick it up. If you're not a big fan of the Boom series, if you're not a big fan of the whole Emoji series, maybe pass it up. I love it. Obviously, I collect Sonic, so I'm going to buy them, of course. Definitely something that I would definitely pick up. I'm just admiring how adorable he is. He is an absolutely adorable picture. Adorable Tails. You can purchase it from most retailers, Amazon. I go to toyawiz.com. You can purchase it from eBay, of course. I bought it from ToyWiz. I'll probably put a link in the description so you guys check it out. They pretty much ship all over the world. That's where I purchased it. I know various stores in the US and the UK, if I'm not mistaken, do stock them. But as an Australian, you make do with what you get, right? I'm sure there's a few places I just couldn't find them. Absolutely adorable, absolutely lovely. I cannot stress out how much I love this plush. Is it worth it? I think so. There is a different versions of towels, which when I review to it's going to look awesome. I think this Emoji series is focusing on kind of like giving you an option for every person. So instead of, if somebody doesn't like this face of towels, you can purchase, I don't know, winky face towels, loving face Sonic, you know, mix and match pretty much on you. Me, I'm going to buy all the series because I think they're absolutely adorable. $15, rarity 1 star out of 10, simply because you can still buy them. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, can you? I don't think you can. Anyway, guys, let me know. Is this the sort of stuff that you're into? Is it? I mean, I think it's absolutely adorable. And this is a grown man saying adorable. Respect. You got that, Sonic? Respect. I don't think there is any more to say about this. I mean, it is Tails, it is an Emoji series, and when I shall review the rest. Guys, remember, speed on, take care, and of course, till next time.